Yep, I'm ready. Here's the Ricky Craven interview, everybody.
Clint Bowyer, Martin Truex Jr., Brian Vickers, teammates. They stand up for each other. They share information in the garage. They do not take their allegiance onto the track in an effort to help each other into the chase at the expense of another driver. NASCAR making sure of it. Michael Waltrip Racing fined $300,000. General Manager Ty Norris suspended indefinitely. And Bowyer, Truex, and Vickers all docked 50 points after the turn of events at Richmond last Saturday. As a result, Bowyer remains in the chase, but Truex, not anymore. NASCAR's equation, controversial endings plus smoke and gun audio on tape equals paying the price. Let's back up to Richmond Saturday night. The standings got a big shakeup when Ryan Newman took the lead at Richmond with 10 laps to go. Now, he needed the win in order to get the wild card spot. And when he jumped into first, it put him in. Both Joey Logano and Truex Jr. out. Unless he got some help. Perhaps from a teammate? Well, let's take a look here now. Under 10 laps to go, untouched. Bowyer spins out. Dale Earnhardt Jr. called it the craziest thing he has ever seen. Now, with the spin out, Newman loses positioning. Remember, no win, no chase. Bowyer and Vickers hit on a green flag final lap, and here is what NASCAR says the smoking gun. The conversation between Vickers and Norris about that decision.
We're going to pit. You talking to me? We got to pit? Yeah, we're going to pit. What? I've got to, I don't understand, pit right now? Got to pit this time. We need that 1 point. Therefore, do I got a tire to work out? Yes.
All right, well, when Vickers asked about the tire after pitting, here was the response from Norris. Quote, "I will see you after the race, Brian. I owe you a kiss." So all said and done, here was the reaction from Michael Waltrip, co-owner of MWR. What occurred on the number 55 radio at the end of Saturday night's race in Richmond was a split-second decision made by team spotter Ty Norris to bring the number 55 to pit lane and help a teammate earn a place in the chase. We regret the decision and its impact. Penalties, as we mentioned, handed down to all three Michael Waltrip drivers. But the short of it is that Newman replaces Truex Jr. for the second wildcard position. With the 50-point penalty, Truex falls below Newman in the standings. Newman takes over that wildcard spot. As for Bowyer, his 50-point loss, that doesn't hurt him. He remains in the top 10, and it's reseeded based on season wins. And the man in the middle of this story joins us live here on Sportscenter. Clint Bowyer with us. Thanks for taking the time. Let me start with your decision to make a phone call to Ryan Newman. Why did you decide to do that?
Well, anytime. I mean, anything happens on the racetrack, obviously causes something. And, I felt horrible that, spinning on the racetrack actually caused him to, ended up losing the race and ultimately, miss the chase. But I obviously, like I said, anytime something happens on the racetrack, it causes some sort of reaction, and that was the reaction. I felt bad for him. He's a good friend. We're going hunting in a couple weeks, and wanted to make sure that we were fine and happy that he's in the chase. And as far as I'm concerned, that phone call needed to be made. No matter what, I would make that phone call if anything happened. There was only one instance that I've ever not made a phone call, and that's what happened last year.
All right, let's take a listen to part of that phone call and how Newman described it.
I was really shocked. I can't say that they got it right. In our sport, I think that's a different situation. It's not like instant replay or checking the video or anything else. It's a tough call, but I do commend them on taking a stand on somebody trying to manipulate the outcome of not just the race, but to me, it's the 26 races in total. It's literally the toughest thing I've ever had to go through in racing, to have that taken away from me in my eyes. And in the end, it's relieving, but it's not. I mean, Martin Truex is a friend of mine. Clint already called me and apologized, told me that he'd been sick to his stomach for the last 2 days. I commend him for calling me as a competitor, as a friend. Somebody I'd never thought that would have made that decision, but did. And I was hoping that we could get through this, and I'm thinking that we are.
Clint, to call him and to apologize, say you felt sick to your stomach. Are you admitting that you spun out intentionally on the track?
No, let's not dig too much into this. I've dealt with that the last couple. A lot of opinions and a lot of things that happened. I mean, obviously, I gave my interview after the races of what happened. we've been penalized, the biggest penalty in NASCAR history, and we're going to get through this as a race team. There's a lot of racing left with what's going on. The chase is alive. It starts this weekend. Somehow, through all of this, I've got to get my focus, back onto the chase and business as usual. It's I have a lot of fans that have followed us through this and been behind me. I appreciate that. For the fans that don't agree or are upset, I apologize. But
what's the apology for, though? What are you actually apologizing for?
Anytime you think, I went from leading the race to in the middle of a disaster. Extremely disappointed in the way the race was and how I could have just easily been in victory lane. It's a bad deal, and bad deal all the way around for MWR. Again, we've been penalized for this. We stand by our actions. We own up to them, and we're going to get through this together and go on.
What do you say to the people who perceive that you did spin out intentionally?
I'll earn their fan base back, and hopefully, I started with nothing. I was a dirt racer in Kansas, coming up through the ranks, and started with nothing, and I'm not scared to do it again.
All right, let's bring in our ESPN NASCAR analyst, Ricky Craven. Ricky, what do you make of all of this?
Well, if I take a 20,000-foot view, Jade, I think that Saturday night was extremely disappointing, unsettling, and NASCAR corrected it. They did a great job. Last night, I felt like while I was over at the NASCAR R&D Center, we were able to bring closure to all this. And I expected to wake up this morning and focus on the chase, which I feel deserves the attention in September. But having said that, there's still a few elements. There are a few components to this that only Clint and I, as it relates to ESPN, can appreciate. So, Clint, I'm going to ask you, along the lines of the suspicion, and there is an overwhelming majority of not only people, but drivers that think you spun on purpose. I reached out to some of those drivers in the last couple of days. They say, I'd like to see him apologize at the drivers' meeting. Some of them say, no, I don't want him to say anything. I want him to move on. I want to put this behind us. How are you going to handle it, Clint? What's your frame of mind going into the garage area Friday morning?
I'm going to go there just like I always have. I'm going to go there, put my helmet on, and compete and race as hard as I can for a win, for 5 Hour Energy, for Toyota, and all of our partners. It's a bad situation. It is. If you think I could look in her crystal ball and tell you everything that happened after that race and do all of this, it's crazy to think that. We're all competitors. We've all been in this sport for a long time. We've all seen a lot of wild things happen over the years, and we're going to go to Chicago. There's only one thing I can promise you. Chicago's going to happen this weekend, and I'm going to be ready.
Yeah, but listen, there aren't many drivers as popular as you. And quite frankly, there aren't many drivers as good. Yeah. There aren't as many that are as good as you. I give you tremendous credit. I always have. I'm disappointed with what I saw the other night. But I'll tell you this, Clint. Everybody deserves the benefit of the doubt. You said you didn't do it, and I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. So I'm going to move on. As it relates to your position in the sport, do you feel like you need to regain credibility? Do you feel like you have any work to do as it relates to rebuilding the confidence of the people that support the sport?
Of course so. I'm a fan of this sport. I love this sport. I love the fans. I love the passion that the fans have for this sport. It's fun, entertaining to follow the sport, via Twitter and all the media outlets. I also realize the importance of media, and I also realize that the spin that some of the media, has on life in general, the sporting events and everything else. It's part of it. You got to get through it. And I'm a big boy. Like I said, I'm gonna put my helmet on this weekend and go to work.
You and the team have had some momentum, Clint, and I'm curious, as an organization, how do you prevent this from becoming a major distraction?
Just continue doing what I've always done. You've got to keep the pressure off the guys. You got to, through all of this, I've got to do my job in the race car. It's pressure for everybody. The chase, let me tell you something. People don't realize how much pressure is around this chase. I don't want this story to be the story of the chase. There's tremendous amounts of pressure, a lot on the line for a lot of race teams, and a whole year's work went into this. we were locked into the chase weeks ago. We've been preparing for this for a long time, and I feel like we've got a shot at it, and I'm excited.
I'm curious. You said, let me tell you something, there's a lot of pressure. What do you mean by that exactly?
I don't think
you're speaking to me.
Was the chase alive when you were racing? I mean, it's the chase resets everything, and extreme amounts of pressure on everybody involved. I mean, it's literally you got to shut yourself off from everything and throw all the cards on the table, go for broke, and see how everything ends up. I mean, it's 10 weeks to decide a champion, and a lot of pressure on the line.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on everybody. I think that at the very core of this, and it's not just you. A lot of attention to you. I think I have this big initiative.
Trust me, I'm the guy that's under the radar. I love no attention at all. I'd like to be out hunting this week and show up, put my helmet on, go back to work. I mean, it's unfortunate and it's part of it, but like I said, I'll own up to it, and I can handle it.
That sounds good. I'm going to end with this point, okay? That at the core of this, it's not about me or you or anybody, any other driver in the garage. It's about the fans. You want to talk about pressure? You look at the economy, and let me finish, Clint. You look at the economy and the people that spend their hard-earned money to fly to Richmond, to buy a ticket, to participate in the weekend, and they might have felt like they got robbed. So, I'm only bringing that point to suggest that this is much bigger than any one of us. What happened Saturday night put into play the integrity of the sport. Now, as it relates to you and I'm moving on. I'm focused on the chase, but it bothered me a little bit when you said, let me tell you something. The pressure that's involved with the sport, you might not understand. I don't understand your view on that.
There's tons of pressure on the sport. There's tons of pressure on the drivers. I mean, I've lived in pressure since I've been in the NASCAR world. And, I didn't think anybody would know it would be you, how much pressure is on any, professional athlete. So, I apologize that you don't understand the pressure, but pressure heats up. It heats up in a big way in the chase. Obviously, like I said, there'll be people in Chicago and they'll get their money's worth.
Yeah. Have a good weekend, Clint.
Thank you.
All right, the chase, of course, starts Sunday afternoon. Geico 400, that comes your way, 2 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Now, you finished in last year's chase second to Brad Keselowski. How are you going to take everything that's happened in this last week, if you will, and everything that you've learned in your racing career and put it together and use it in this year's chase?
Well, it's going to be tough. Obviously, inside of everything that happened last weekend, it's hard to put that behind you. I'm human. Everybody's human. Things happen, and you got to get through life. Life is difficult. There's a hell of a lot more good days than there is bad days, and I enjoy every day I wake up. I'm looking forward to the chase. We've been preparing for this chase for weeks, for months. We've had a great season. My teammates have won races. I've yet to win a race, and hopefully we can get that done in the chase and compete for a championship.
See, that's why I say he doesn't deserve to be there.
This weekend being different than any other weekend on the track?
It's going to be harder, of course. You know what I mean? Anytime you're involved in anything like this, that gets this much exposure, it's difficult. It puts, extra amount of attention, pressure on everybody involved. It ain't just me, it's my crew chief, the overall guys, everybody. I don't like being in the spotlight. I don't know if you can tell that.
Just a little.
I'm not a spotlight guy. I don't like interviews. I like going out and having fun with my friends and enjoying, a good car race.
In your mind, Clint, what has to happen to take this kind of spotlight, the one you prefer not to be in, away from you?
I don't know. Like I said, there's always pressure. There's always spotlight. I'm involved with a huge sport of NASCAR. The fans are incredible. They're incredible loyal. Let me tell you something. There's one thing I've learned over the last couple days is the loyalty to the fans and the passion that our fans have for this sport. So I appreciate them. I appreciate the sport, and I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, Clint Bowyer, we appreciate your taking the time to come in and chat with us. Ricky Craven joining us as well. Best of luck in the race for the chase.
Thank you.